My 9th rank 3 7th star and 3rd rank 3 science is Silk. Silk is a champion I've been playing for basically forever. She's the first champion I ever grinded arena for, which was only for a 5-star, but that was all I ever had the time to commit to an arena grind for. And I wanted that 5-star specifically for content. So when I got that 5-star from arena, I ranked her up and made a bunch of different videos on her just using the 5-star, because 5-stars were so valuable in Battlegrounds back then. And as you know, she's always been a Battlegrounds champion. She is just busted in that game mode versus so many different defenders. And you're going to see plenty of BG's gameplay in this video. However, I also want to showcase her in a bit more like boss killing content and show how she has so much prominence in that area as well, including other areas like questing and I would say Alliance War, but obviously she's been banned like every single war for the past like so many of them I can't even count. But I'm sure I'm going to be getting some nice war gameplay of her next season when she's whitelisted, almost no matter what the tactic even is. But this champion is honestly maybe one of my favorite science champs to play, probably my second favorite one, behind Mr. Negative. She's just such a joy to play. I love this character in the comics, and getting her in the game was a really, really nice thing. As a 5-star, and then eventually as a 6-star, and then finally as a 7-star. So she was always going to go to rank 3 eventually, and I decided to do it very early after getting her. I think I rank 3'd her a couple days after I awakened her from a basic crystal or something. So let's just start out with some gameplay. I'm going to show 2 rotations. First one just being like a BG's general rotation, and then the next one being the rotation that we'd use for pretty much anything with a larger health pool, which is just called the SP3 lockdown rotation, and we'll explain that once we get there. But the first one, obviously the BG's rotation, is just try and stack up as many physical vulnerabilities as possible, then go for a combo into Relic into combo into SP2. We didn't have as many physical vulnerabilities as I'd like to because I couldn't stack a bunch, but that does bring Captain Marvel down to 30% health essentially, which would kill any Mystic and BGs at equal ranks, and then even some non-Mystics at equal ranks. That's just so much damage, and yeah, Silk can take like every class. She's not great against skill champs, obviously, but there's going to be at least one skill champ I take in the Battlegrounds fights that we'll get to. But next up is the Juggernaut fight in Realm of Legends, and with that, you're going to see the SP3 rotation, which is the one I actually prefer, just because of how much use it has. The BG's one is just very simple. It's kind of just like a classic get to SP2 and nuke kind of playstyle that a lot of classic nukes have. But the SP3 one is a lot more interesting, and it's not very good for BG's just because you have to sit through an SP3 animation, which I kind of wish BG's had skip SP3 button. I kind of understand why it doesn't, but I also don't think it would be the end of the world if they did give it that, because, you know, like, there's not a big reason not to when both you and your opponent would have access to that button, right? But I could be wrong. Either way, the SP3 rotation is you drop the SP3 from a heavy, obviously, medium, light, medium, 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 combo into Relic, light attack, pause, and to another combo into a special 2. It's very complex, but it's a very complex rotation. That's just the best thing I can say about it, because I can put it into words and characters like MLM, MM, and stuff like that, but it's just something you gotta practice. I can't really teach you how to do it. You kind of have to teach yourself just by watching and trying to replicate how I do it, because yeah, I'm not the best at teaching how to do an advanced rotation like that, but at the same time, it's extremely effective once you get the hang of it, and yeah, I use it quite often in areas outside of BG's. But now we move on to BG's, and I'm starting against this rank 3 Bishop. One thing that I love about Silk is her auto evade. That auto evade is used obviously to help dex hard to dex special attacks like Bishop's SP2, which I do dex correctly in that video, but I'm not always the best at it. And then yeah, that SP2 just nukes him, so That was a rank 3 Bishop done with a non-tech in 41 seconds. That's pretty crazy if you ask me. And then next up we're fighting Future Ant-Man. Another example of her just having really, really good damage to nuke the defender before they can really get a lot of their threats online. Future Ant-Man's being like his armor ups getting out of control, stuff like that. Silk just, you know, does a ridiculous amount of damage. If he gets armor ups, then you're just going to have to kind of play it safe for a bit until they go away. And then also, if you suck at decking his special attacks like I do, you can use the auto evade, and then you don't need to worry about it, which is pretty cool. So, anyway, there I do get it right, and here I'm fishing for an intercept, and I'm just kind of hoping that he doesn't trigger an armor up. I could be playing this a bit safer if I needed to, but at the same time, we combo there, and then he's just dead. Like, this does so much overkill damage. We didn't even see the last hit or the red numbers to come afterwards. And that's a Future Ant-Man done at almost full health in 45 seconds. Next up is Kushala. Kushala's not a defender. I'm just kind of showing you this because, one, I had it recorded, and two, you can see what a generic Mystic champion survives, or not survives with, I should say. But, I don't really have a lot of Mystic fights recorded, because who in the right mind is placing basically any Mystic when I have a rank 3 Silk? I think Kindred is one that she is a little bit weak for. I know a lot of people are really good at that matchup. I've practiced it a lot, and I'm still not the best. But pretty much any Mystic, she just destroys. Even Sasquatch with his stun immunity and stuff, she's still good for him. So that was a 30-second fight, which is, you know, again, Kushala has no defender potential. She also doesn't have much of a health pool, but that's just an example of like a generic Mystic type thing. So next up, we're fighting Onslaught. What meta is this? This is Rich Get Richer. So Onslaught is even more annoying than usual because when this guy starts spamming specials, it's the worst, dude. And also, holy lag. I ended up evading there because, man, that lag was awful. But again, Silk's evade is just the best thing ever because we didn't lose like 20% of our health just from Neuroshock damage and stuff by misdexing the SP1 because the evade saved our butt. So there we go. Now I'm just trying to fish for an intercept and try to get Onslaught to a level of health where I'm like, yeah, I think I can kill him now. And I'm going to go for an intercept right there, which could have went bad for me, but luckily he didn't drop the special. If he did, I needed to like dash in because invert controls and stuff, and I might have been able to get out of it in time. Either way, he just dies in about a minute. And yeah, in any meta where Onslaught isn't spamming specials as much as he is, that fight can be done even faster for sure. So, really, really nice takedown there. Next up, we're fighting a Nick Fury. And this one is just kind of showing how she's just a nuke. Like, there's not much utility you need to fight Nick Fury when you're killing him at absurd speeds. So, yeah, also, Nick Fury having Purify on his SP1 is annoying for a bunch of skill champions, but not Silk, because you're never going to have debuffs on the defender when they're throwing an SP1 anyway. So, who cares if he purifies a debuff when it's not even on him, right? So we drop the SP2. It pushes him into his second life. Obviously, he's going to heal a lot of that back. But we just want to let him chip himself down and then drop another SP2. It's going to do quite a bit of damage, obviously, because Silk is, you know, pretty good at damage. And then that's probably going to be the end, ideally at least. We're going to bait this special attack real quick. He throws it, and then go back in, go for a relic right here, and I'm going to heavy cancel into the SP2, which is definitely going to be enough damage to finish the job. So, there we go. That Nick fight is down, and now we're going to move on to Hulkling. I believe this is in the Crit Me meta, so a little bit of a different scenario, because we want to focus more on intercepting than trying to line up the perfect double Fury rotation. And also, we won't have any burst damage coming from the SP2 at the end of it, or just SP1, any burst damage at all, really. So yeah, I remember this Hulkling just not wanting to throw a special because he's the worst. So that's pretty cool. But luckily, he finally throws it, and I'm trying to get an intercept here, and then I get it right there. And then I go for a heavy into Relic, and then, unfortunately, my crit buff, or crit passive, is going to go away too fast. But luckily I just get some godly crit RNG on my basics off of like a recovery intercept, and he dies. So I played that pretty terribly, but luckily it didn't go that badly for me. Next up is Photon, again in the Gladiator Circuit meta. Might have uploaded this one as a solo video, but if you didn't know, Silk is pretty good for Photon because Silk doesn't actually benefit from the Dex Mastery. She just has the ability to not get struck by attacks when dashing backward, meaning Photon can't actually shut off the Mastery, so you can not only just Dex her attacks, but even if you somehow mess a timing up, then you have your evade. So yeah, she's just overall very, very good for Photon. And we just fish for an intercept like that, go for the SP2, charge a heavy for the Fury after I made sure the Untouchable was on cooldown. And as you can see, Dexterity failed, but again, she doesn't even care about that. So all I need now is just an intercept, and then the fight is over as soon as I can get it, or a little bit after I get it. She goes right back in, and then we get the kill right there. So obviously that score would be a lot better if I had the burst damage for my special 2. Generally, at least, that's how I'd say it would probably be a better score, but either way, fight went down. And next up we're fighting Mr. Sinister, and this is an interesting fight. We're just trying to see how fast she can nuke this one, because yeah, Sinister heals back so much. So do I go for an SP3 rotation in this one? I think I might actually do that, because I wasn't confident in the SP2 killing at all, and also with how many concussions I'm going to get placed on me, it doesn't sound like a good time. So I think I am just going to go for the SP3, but let's see. Yeah, I'm definitely going for SP3. Gonna go charge the heavy right into the special 3, throw it, and like I said earlier, it definitely takes a lot of time to throw the SP3, but she does have one of the quicker SP3 animations, I think, so it's not too bad. But we're just doing the regular SP3 lockdown rotation, and hopefully the Sinister is just gonna die from the special 2, and yeah, he's gonna die. So it's so annoying when we crit, because he regens all the crits, and then he's immune to regen rate modification too, so I can't really do a lot of damage when I crit rather than when I don't crit. So a little bit of a self-inflicted wound, or yeah, it's just annoying. But next up we're fighting Jessica Jones, and this one is just you have slow, so you can kill her pretty easily because her defensive threat is just turned off at that point. She is very tanky, but that's alright, because Silk just does a lot of damage, so it doesn't even matter. We just want to go for a special 2 right here, with a decent amount of physical vulnerability active, so she is going to gain the physical resist, or just the resistance up, which is really annoying, especially since we didn't get any crits on that attack. But at the same time, we're still going to hit pretty hard, and have that slow for any safety that we might need it for. I believe, okay, she throws an SP1 to my block, annoying, but it's alright. We can kill her with this SP1 right here. Get 1 crit, 2 crits, and that's gonna be the end. So yeah, I like Silk versus JJ, probably like the best JJ counter I consistently run in my deck. And that is all the Battlegrounds fights I have. I have more Silk BG's content versus like other defenders, but you can check other Silk videos of mine for that. But now we're moving on to Alliance War Showcase. I know this game mode obviously isn't here right now, but there are some cool fights that she did take in that game mode, so I figured they'd be worth putting in the video. And of course, if you aren't interested in this because the content's already gone, there's time codes so you can move along. But I am still going to talk about how this fight went. You can see I have the evade from Silk's kit, obviously, which is just really awesome, because I guess I can't dex his SP1 correctly, so I'll take the little cheat code there. And then we bait this guy's SP2, he drops it. I do know the dex on that one because it's, pretty easy. And then I go for a medium there, which was dumb, but it's all good. We don't die, that's what matters. And I'm trying to get an intercept, and now I'm just gonna wait for the thing to get off cooldown, and then I go for gonna get an intercept right there, and then I guess I'm going for... No, I don't even need to go for SP3, because she just hits so hard on the basic attacks that I can just kill her like that. So, there we go. Now we're gonna move on to the Onslaught in that quest. And again, you already saw Silk versus Onslaught in the Rich Get Richer meta, but now you can see the same fight here on this War Showcase, and there is the physical resist node from Spiked Armor, which is a bit annoying, but it's gonna go basically just like any Silk versus Onslaught fight does. This one I might be using the SP3 rotation. We'll see what I actually decide to do, because I don't even remember. But yeah, we have a nice little regen boost from the actual node, and then I'm just trying to get to an SP3 as fast as possible, I think. Get a nice ricochet intercept there, which it's very difficult to ricochet intercept Onslaught because he dashes in faster than most defenders, or maybe it's just because his hitbox is a little bit different, but Silk is able to do it because our light attack comes out so fast, which is really cool. I like when a champion has very viable ricochet intercepts, and Silk is no exception to that because her light attack is so good. So yeah, we're building up to that SP3. He did gain a precision from Dex, which is a little bit annoying, but whatever. I actually do drop the SP2 here instead of going for an SP3. Okay. Which I think SP3 would have been better. I do get the full Dex here, so I don't even need the evade, which is pretty awesome. But we are still taking damage from Neuroshocks and from Spiked Armor, but I didn't parry, so I don't have a Daunted on me, shutting off my willpower healing, so at least there is that benefit, but I do take a combo there because I'm bad. But that's okay. We're going to go for a combo into Relic, and then, yeah, you know this is going to be enough. You know how Silk works. This is going to be plenty of damage to finish the job, and that Onslaught goes down. So, considering I've already talked over the Work Showcase fights before, and I think those were two of the more interesting ones, I'm going to stop talking until we move on to the next piece of content, but I will play these fights out for you. So, see y'all in the next content. now we move on to Summer of Suffering, and I'm starting with this iDoom boss. I take a bunch of them, but that's just the one I actually started with. And she's just busted for this fight because, you know, the SP3 lockdown cycle just kills almost anything, so like, it's not even that she has a lot of ways to counter the nodes or just items threaten the fight. It's just the SP3 lockdown cycle is so stupidly broken that you can just kill the defender without letting a bunch of their threats come online. We do have the slow, which is really awesome at keeping him not unstoppable when he does trigger an aura, and I want to go for a heavy attack or a special. But I don't even know if that actually does come into play. It might later. And then the easy access to heavy attacks allowing me to just get rid of that node, where after he finishes a special I need to make sure I do a heavy knockdown. So here I'm going to go for the SP3, and I'm not even going to trigger the full knockdown, even though I probably could have. So I'm going to lose a little bit of health because of that. But also, the Furies we get from the node where we dash in, those are definitely putting in work here to help increase the damage, because normally I go for like 1 SP2 before I go for an SP3 lockdown when I'm fighting a defender with a health pool this large, but those Furies helped a lot from the nodes, so now he's at 9% after that SP3, and you know, she's Silk, so she's gonna finish the remaining bit of his health extremely fast, believe with just an SP1. And then I misdex the special, but we have the evade, so who cares? I was hoping that heavy would finish the job. It doesn't, but this SP1 is going to finish the job, so there we go. There goes that iDoom, and you can see that fight went down in, what, under 90 seconds? Or, yeah, under 90 seconds. Pretty ridiculous. Now we're fighting the Photon in the same quests, and this one, again, is just because of the fact that Photon can't shut off Silk's evade, or her pseudo dex, I should say, because Silk doesn't benefit from the mastery. She just has the ability to begin with. She does benefit in some ways, because for every point in the dex mastery that you were running, she's going to convert that into a permanent critical rating boost. So yeah, it does help to actually have the dex mastery unlocked. It's not like there's no benefit at all, but that is what you get instead of, you know, benefiting from the ability to dash away from attacks. Because she already has that ability, so she doesn't need it. She'll just take the extra crit rating. So now we're just continuing to drop SP2s in this fight, just because of the power gain node. I'm not even going to try to force a Fury in by triggering her untouchable. Not every time. I'm going to do it here, but sometimes I'm just going to go for it. And I realized, oh, I messed up and I hit her block with a light attack. You're not supposed to do that, because then you're going to power drain yourself. So now I got to re-trigger the whole untouchable cooldown thing, and then I can go for my big SP2, because we trigger the relic, and then I'm going to go for another heavy attack. So now we have 2 Furies on the special 2, and it does quite a bit of damage. That last hit was over 100k if you add in the red number with it. So that's pretty awesome. Dex the special attack right there, and then I just need to go for another SP2 real quick. Again, not going to bother lining up the Fury on that one. And then pushes her into pure light form. Does not matter one bit, because this Photon's unduped, so my block proficiency cannot go down. And also, you know, we're just gonna be able to dex the special attacks anyway, as I've been saying the whole time. So now I'm just waiting for this Petrify to go off, and then I'm gonna trigger that miss, so it goes on cooldown. Gonna go for a heavy attack into a relic, and then you know the drill. We're gonna go for another special attack right there, which what the heck was I doing? Never mind. I don't know what I was doing there. For some reason I didn't do the chain properly, and then I didn't even dash in. Okay. Oh, because she went untouchable, obviously. I make that mistake all the time, dashing in after Photon's SP2 when she's in pure light, just because I forget that she triggers untouchable at the end. Anyway, SP2 with 1 Fury still does decent damage, and we're just continuing to go with the flow for this. And yeah, there we go. We have the untouchable on cooldown, go for the relic, do a couple hits, charge heavy right there, go for another SP2 with 2 Furies, and then it does, again, over 100k if you add the red numbers on the last hit. So now I just need her to block. Am I going to whiff a light? Or no, I can just do it like that. Gonna go for a short combo real quick. Charge heavy into SP2. And then once again, we do decent damage on the special 2 and the burst damage afterwards. And now I'm like, okay, I have my relic coming back, so I'm about to be able to just kill her. I want to parry right here, light attack, and then she is gonna die right. Is it here? I dropped the SP2, and I only could trigger one Fury because I was going to go to an SP3. But it finishes the job anyway. So, there we go. That was one of the longer Summer of Suffering boss fights. But we're gonna see some quicker ones here. Moving on to this Toad next. And this is another one where Silk doesn't necessarily counter the fight very well. It's just the fact that her lockdown cycle is so ridiculously broken that it doesn't matter. She is good in some scenarios, like having that auto evade for his freaking annoying special attacks. Specifically the SP2 when you're rooted. I hate that. And then the SP1 with inverted controls. Hate that too. But either way, what we want to do is get him into a range where I know the SP3 rotation is going to kill. In my head, that was going to be about 60% health, so we're going to be playing the fight very normally, maybe not letting him regen extremely intentionally, while I'm building up to get him to that 60% kill range. And then once I am there, I can just get to an SP3, and then like, yeah, he's going to die. I'm going to take a bunch of poison damage, but it doesn't even matter. Back myself into a corner, at least, almost, eat a combo, because that was awesome, and then drop the SP2 here, just because I didn't want to go to SP3 at that time. So yeah, it doesn't really do much damage, but it's fine. We just need to get him to the point where I can just automatically kill him, and then we're going to be set up for success. So, trying to get an intercept here. Invalidate some of those prowess. I don't really know if I need to do that considering I'm not poison immune, but doing it anyway. So anyway, just keep fishing for some intercepts. Her light attacks feel so good to intercept with. Another reason that I actually like some characters because of how easy it is to intercept with their light attacks. Another example is Gore. I don't know why, it's just some champions I feel like have really good to intercept with light attacks, and it adds to my enjoyment of them. For scenarios like this. So now he's at that 60% kill range, so I'm just racing to the SP2. SP3, and then that's gonna be the end basically. Gonna back up a little bit, try to keep him from healing back up above that 60% range. Just keep him out of the corner as much as possible, because that's when he starts regenning the most. And then, yeah, just baiting his SP1 now. Again, I like baiting the SP2 more when it's going to be inverted rather than the SP1, so I don't really know why I was baiting it there, but now he's at the SP2, so that's exactly what I wanted. And then for root, I like baiting the SP1 for this fight. So yeah, almost at the SP3, gonna go for some nice intercepts beforehand, and then he lets me go for another one while he's at a bar of power, which is really awesome, so I can keep those physical vulnerabilities stacked. And dude, just watch his health get completely annihilated. I don't care that I'm getting a bunch of poisons on me, because I know I'm going to kill him before he can kill me. He's at 42%, now he's at 30%, and you know what this SP2 is going to do. Look at those crits. We're not even at the final hit yet. 163,000 damage burst at the end of the attack. Man, that felt so good. So yeah, now we move on to Destroyer. If you didn't know, Destroyer is immune to slow, so this is another one where it's just like, okay, she's not going to counter this extremely well, but we get to the SP3, and if he's at my kill range, he's just going to automatically die. And I believe 60% is going to be close to what I go for. This is probably one of the easier bosses they've put out in this content, but that's not to say it's still not difficult in some aspects. And you're going to see Silk, you know, she does have a lot of debuffs to get rid of his destruction charges, so I guess that is a little bit of a benefit for the fight. And also, if you just mess up the SP2 decks, you have the evade. But she's just so good at killing bosses that that's kind of why I'm showing you this fight, not because of her specific utility, just because of how good she is at boss killing in general. And the fight is already halfway over, spoiler alert. I was baiting that special attack for so long, and just looking at the editing clip, the fight is literally already halfway over, which is hilarious if you ask me. So now I just need to get to that SP3. I'm like, oh yeah, he's so dead once I get there. 21k crit at the end of that. Heavy attack, pretty nice. And then go back in, charge heavy, and then we need 2 more combos, and I'll be at the SP3. And that is going to be when he dies, once I get to that SP3. So bait 1 more SP1, and then go in. Gonna go for the heavy attack. Am I going to do the full knockdown? And I am, yeah. So anyway, the physical vulnerabilities in the Fury, you don't lose until they actually like stand up from getting knocked down, so you can go for the heavy to actually knock down them. Just a PSA there. But either way, we're at the SP2 now, and that was a 66k crit on the first hit of the heavy attack. 111k crit on the one of the final hits of the special 2. And then, yeah, that completely destroyed him. So now we move on to some Eternity of Pain content. One of my favorite quests, actually, so that's why I show it in so many showcases, because I really like these bosses, most of them at least. I think some of them are kind of stupid, like the Hercules boss is pretty dumb, and the Penny Parker boss is pretty dumb, but those are just some that come to my mind immediately. And I could do more of the fights if I just progress through the quest enough, but I figured, these first 2 I'm going to show are going to be, enough to show her viability in this game mode. And then, look at me, not even going to try to throw an SP2 first. I'm just going for it with him at 83%. I'm like, yeah, this is enough. He's only got 800k health. It's Silk versus a Mystic. Like, this is just going to be a complete annihilation. Oh my gosh, he's so dead. 32% health when I drop the SP2, no crits, and then we still kill him. 800k health in 47 seconds. That just from the start of the fight to the finish of the fight, not even like after ramping a character or anything. That's ridiculous, man. I know some of that was coming from the degens from the node, but still, that was at least 700k, which is still extremely impressive in 47 seconds. And now we're fighting this bishop, which this is just a really silly example of Silk on nodes that it can increase her power gain rate. Watch what happens when we get to the SP3. Am I going to even bait a special attack in this fight? I don't think I am. Yeah, we're just going to go for the SP3 here. With the knockdown and everything. He's at special 3 himself. I don't even care. I'm going to drop this special attack. And then I light attack on accident. Like, I meant to dash in. So now I got a little lucky that he didn't drop the SP3 there, but I would just redone the fight because I messed up the SP3 rotation. And then I'm going to go for another SP3 because of the power gain node just allowing me to stack up even more time. So look at those light attacks. That was 19k light attacks with no crit. Holy damage, man. So yeah, she's just really dumb in some areas of the game where you can increase her combat power rate, or in that case, she was getting ability power. But yeah, now we're gonna just move on to Gauntlet Terrax. If you don't know what the fight nodes are, he just has 200% extra combat power rates, and then power from afar, and then he also has a node that is going to give him an indestructible for 4 seconds whenever he gains one of his Terrax charges. I don't even know what they're called. Galactic something. But he can only gain 2 of his galactic things in a fight, so we just get him to 4 because he started with 2, and then now he can't go indestructible for the rest of the fight except for his own personal indestructible buff. So now we're just fishing for a combo real quick, and then I'm just gonna end the fight right here with the SP3, because you know how the SP3 lockdown cycle goes. He's at 77%. I know he's got a little enough health pool to be able to kill him with just that. So we go in for a combo. Charge heavy into a relic, light attack, pause, light attack, starting combo, charge heavy into SP2 right there, and then the SP2 it kills. We don't even see the burst damage at the end. So, yeah. And we're gonna test even more limits of how easily Silk can kill 800,000 health. Because now we're gonna fight this Gauntlet Vision, and this Vision, he throws his special attacks in order of special 1, 2, and 3, and if you eat a special 3, or I think like any of his special attacks, you just instantly die. So we need to kill him before he gets the opportunity to throw his SP3, because we can't bait any special attacks after he's thrown that specific special attack. So like the SP1 there, he was never going to throw again, so I could just charge heavy in the corner a bunch. And now I'm just trying to get to my SP3 real quick, and then I'm going to go for one intercept, and not even go for an intercept. I'm just going to drop the SP3 right there after the knockdown. He's at 72%. You know how this goes. It's probably getting boring hearing me say it, but I hope it's not getting boring watching it because of how awesome Silk gameplay is to watch. And yeah, we kill him. That's kind of the whole thing that Silk does after she drops an SP3. So, yeah, an absurd amount of overkill too. We got a nice 100k crit on the 5th hit of the special 2, and yeah, he died. So, and we're gonna do this one more time in a Gauntlet fight at least. We're gonna fight MCoC, and I mean, one more time meaning Gauntlet. I'm not going to use the SP3 rotation in this fight. We're going to use the Specialist 1 node to just spam SP1s, and I believe this one is annoying because like MCoC auto-blocks special attacks, which I think is just really stupid, and then also whatever that was at the start of the fight. But he does have stun vulnerability, so we can get a 39k heavy attack crit with very little effort, and then also apparently when Silk's mediums get auto-blocked, you physically cannot prevent the defender from countering you. So that's really cool. Like I tried as fast as I could to block after he auto blocks my medium, and I can't do anything to get out of it. And then he auto blocks the final hit of every single special 1 I throw, but whatever, we're still doing big damage because of stun vulnerability. And then I go for an intercept there. It didn't work out for me, and then yeah, we're just gonna try to kill him as fast as I can. Go for another SP1 here, do some nice damage, except for, you know, the final hit, once again, isn't going to actually work. He calls me a moron, but, you know, I knew that was going to happen. I also knew he was going to die before I died, so. Anyway, we evade there, because apparently I can't dex MCoC special 2, or a special 1 sometimes. But I go for a heavy attack into a special 1 there, and then he's still not dead, but he almost is. So, I don't know what happened there, but we're gonna go for a heavy attack, and that's gonna finish the job. And yeah, those are just some simple Grandmaster's Gauntlet fights. There's so many more in that quest I could take if I did a run. I just haven't done it yet, and this video is already long enough. So, the final 10 minutes are gonna be questing content, just for people who enjoy just questing throughout the game and not playing some of the more, difficult or competitive game modes. So if you want to see Silk in basic questing scenarios, here is that for like the next 10 minutes. I think it's some side quests, some bounty events, maybe event quests thrown in there too. So I'm going to stop talking because there's not that much to say in questing scenarios. But if you stay for the rest of the video, I do appreciate it. And I will say also that evade is... I love that evade. Anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next one.